But what they fail to realize is any growth in capital, right, is actually also a form of yield. So what I just said was you either make money from yield or delta. But delta is also a form of yield. If you buy a coin at $1 and you sell it at $2, the yield was essentially, in a way, 200%. Right? That's another way you can look at it. So what they fail to recognize is that the value of the asset going up and down is a form of yield. So if you buy a coin at $1 and you sell it at $2, like I said, you make 100% yield on your money. If you lend a coin at a 5% annual yield, you make 5% on your money. Now, the big difference between the yield farming, like here, and just investing is no yield farming operation can double your money without huge capital risk. Only investing can do this. So why hold an investment with a high chance of dropping 60% just to collect a mere 6%, a 5% yield? Because in this situation, yeah, you made 5% for free doing nothing, but you lost 55% of your portfolio as the asset went down. And as Kun puts it in the tweet over here, it would be like holding pesos, which are inflating to zero, and collecting a really good yield on it, right? Yeah, you made 20% yield on pesos, but pesos inflated by 80% this year, and you actually lost 60%. So that's something you need to consider in investing. Now, I'm going to give you a real-life example because I think it'll help you understand what I'm talking about here. So imagine Joe Blow, right? He bought Cardano, $50,000 worth of ADA at, let's say, 10 cents. And Cardano is now worth $2. So he has $1 million. He lends Cardano on Binance for 15% per year. So he makes risk-free $150,000 per year. His job pays him $60,000 per year. So he's like, oh my god, I can't sell Cardano or I lose my passive income. Now let's visualize this on the chart, right? So we said he bought at 10 cents. So, okay, this is not working. Hold up. Bear with me. So 10 cents is like here, right? Decent entry. Like there. Okay, I'll do a proper line. I'll make this professional. 10 cents is here. And $2 is here. And he captured a 1,800, 1,900% gain, right? Or I guess a 20x, right? He made. And now he's like, oh, passive income. Like, I don't have to work my job again. I'm making all this money. I'm so cool. But let's do some math here, right? ADA is a shitcoin, and when the shitcoin drops, right, from $2 down to 20 cents, he loses 80% of his capital. So yeah, let's do some maths, right? Let's do some quick math on a whiteboard. Every year, this guy makes $150,000, assuming Cardano stays at $2. But the reality is altcoins always drop 90% in bear markets, as they're speculative and useless, right? So let's have a look here. How much did we drop down to the bottom? 88%. So Joe Blow lost in how long is that? That's November 2021, November 2022. So in 1 year, in exactly 1 year, lost in exactly one year, 88% of his 1 million. So he now has 120,000 left. So 120,000 times 15% equals Oops. 18,000. So, how many years of yield does he need to make up for the fact that he went from $1 million to $120,000? Well, 880,000 is how much he lost, right? In dollars. Divided by 18,000, right? 48. Joe Blow the retard now needs 48 fucking years to make back the money that he lost because he was too fucking stupid to sell. This is what most people in crypto do, and this is why we are able to make so much money, because all these fucking morons lock up their money at the peak of the bull run to collect some dumbass yield, and then they end up losing 90% of their principal capital, and they give back all the profits that they made just to collect some bullshit $18,000 a year yield and lose 90% of their money. You do not want to be like Joe Blow the retard, okay? Now, let's imagine instead what he did is he focused on Delta. So, he bought it here and then sold it here, right? How much money would he have? He would have $1 million. So he would be $900,000 wealthier, and he now has $900,000, which he can then put, let's say, into bonds and earn 5% a year on safely without losing his money, right? So yeah, maybe he would have made 10% more here, but he had to risk a 90% drawdown to collect 15% a year, which is not at all a good trade-off, okay? So this is why I don't do yield, because, as I said before, your capital's locked, so you can't make decisions. He locked up his money in this scenario, and now it's locked, and now he loses all his money, right? There's also risk. If he was to put his $1 million onto Binance and Binance got hacked, he lost $1 million, so he's back at zero. So this is why I focus on Delta. Why hold an investment with a high chance of dropping 60% or 90% just to collect a 5% yield? So let's summarize. The best yield is Delta. The best yield is the price going up, right? Buying it here, selling it here. That's the best yield. Focus on what will give you the most optimal entries and exits, as that will make you more money than any yield farming operation. So why lock up your money for 60 days to get, 2% over the course of the 60 days, when you could just keep your money liquid, get a better entry, and maybe make yourself an extra 20, 30, 40, 50% of profit instead of trying to capture some stupid yield, right? 100% capital risk to make 5 to 20% never makes sense. Either do yield plus Delta or just Delta. You should never come to crypto just to collect the yield due to the risks of losing everything, and there's no insurance to back your money. Keep things simple is my personal philosophy to crypto. So the way that I do crypto is I keep it really simple. All I try to do is buy things low and then sell them high. I don't try to collect yield or staking or anything like that. I just like to keep it really, really, really simple. Now, I had a question in my mastermind about mining. Should someone do mining? Should they be mining things, like doing, like Bitcoin mining or whatever? I don't think you should do mining unless you've got some sort of edge in mining. So for example, people can, around the world, get access to basically free electricity or near zero cost electricity. This gives them a competitive advantage and allows them to make money from farming. So maybe for them, mining makes sense to them. But if you're just some dude in California with $50,000 in the bank account and you're like, oh, maybe I should buy some farming equipment. Mining equipment. No, don't do that. That's stupid, right? It's just not worth the time because you don't have an edge. You're competing against people who don't pay money for electricity. So they will, just through supply and demand, make the cost of production of Bitcoin high enough where you're not able to make a profit. So you don't want to do mining either. Now, if you have an edge, go for it, but most of you don't. So that's yield versus Delta. Hope that makes sense. I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.